In the quiet desert town of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, lies a place of unspeakable terror. It's not a place you'd find on any map. Its existence was hidden from the world for years. But now, the truth is out, and the nightmare that unfolded in what is known as the Toy Box has haunted the nation. This is the story of one man's twisted obsession with control, pain, and domination. And his name is David Parker Ray. David Parker Ray's story begins in a small town, but the darkness inside him started to take root early. Born in 1939, Ray's childhood was anything but normal. Raised in a home that was abusive and dysfunctional, young David was exposed to violence and chaos from an early age. But this wasn't just any broken home. It was a place where cruelty became second nature, where torture wasn't just a thought, it was an experience. His father, a man with a history of brutality, made sure David was introduced to the most disturbing of pastimes early on. It wasn't long before the boy was mimicking the behavior he saw in his father, learning to take pleasure in causing methymine. But this didn't stop David from fitting into society in many ways. On the surface, he was a charming, well-spoken man, someone who could hold a conversation, someone you wouldn't expect to harbor a dark secret. He worked in various jobs, from being a mechanic to spending time as a park ranger. But in the shadows, a different kind of man was emerging. The Toy Box. It sounds innocent, doesn't it? But what happened behind the walls of this desolate building was the stuff of nightmares. Inside, Ray constructed a dungeon, a place where women were captured, tortured, and held captive for days. The room, equipped with horrifying devices, was designed to torment. And Ray didn't work alone. His girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, was an accomplice, helping him lure victims and even participating in the brutal acts. Together, they had a plan. But not just any plan. Ray had a sickening vision, one that involved turning his victims into mere objects for his twisted pleasures. He would drug, restrain, and repeatedly assault his victims, leaving them at his mercy. And through it all, Ray made sure to document every agonizing moment. Over the years, Ray would claim that he had at least 60 victims. But the truth is, the exact number may never be known. He would abduct women from all walks of life, each one chosen at random. Their names faded into obscurity, lost in a trail of pain and horror. Some victims never made it out of the Toy Box alive. Others, like Kelly Garrett, managed to escape. Their courage would later be crucial in bringing Ray to justice. In 1999, Kelly Garrett's life would change forever. Kidnapped by Ray and held captive in his toy box, she found herself drugged, shackled, and terrified. But Kelly was stronger than Ray realized. Over the course of several days, she gathered the strength and will to fight back. With her mind racing, Kelly saw an opportunity. The restraints on her wrists were loose enough for her to break free. She made a run for it, her body weak but her spirit unbroken. And against all odds, Kelly escaped. Barefoot and battered, she ran down a desolate highway and flagged down a passing car. Her escape was a lifeline, a chance to tell the world what had happened inside the Toy Box. When Kelly Garrett went to the authorities, she had no idea just how deeply David Parker Ray's crimes ran. Police, piecing together the information Kelly provided, began to unravel the truth. They discovered the remnants of the Toy Box, a grim puzzle with missing pieces. Detective Yancey and his team worked tirelessly, interviewing witnesses, tracking down the stories of missing women. It wasn't long before they realized Kelly wasn't the only one. Ray had been operating his sickening business for years, and he had nearly gotten away with it. The investigation took a dramatic turn in March 1999. Armed with new evidence and Kelly Garrett's harrowing testimony, authorities finally closed in on David Parker Ray. They discovered his primary residence, an isolated mobile home near Elephant Butte Lake in New Mexico. But what they didn't know was that Ray was far from an easy target. On March 22, 1999, after a surveillance operation, police raided the mobile home. Inside, they found chilling evidence of Ray's twisted crimes, including photographs, videos, and more disturbing recordings of his abductions. But most importantly, they found Ray himself. David Parker Ray was arrested without incident, but not before attempting to flee the scene. His accomplice, Cindy Hendy, was also apprehended, and the two were charged with numerous counts of kidnapping, torture, and sexual assault. But even then, the true scale of Ray's depravity wouldn't be fully realized until later. As the trial began, the pieces of the puzzle came together. The evidence was overwhelming. Ray's past, his accomplices, the tapes, and the survivors who bravely took the stand. David Parker, Ray's reign of terror was finally over. But as the case unfolded, one thing remained unsettling. There was no body. No physical proof that Ray had killed the women he claimed to have murdered. Could a conviction be made without the body of the victim? The aftermath of David Parker Ray's crimes left a deep scar on the community. Families were forever changed, and the town of Truth or Consequences would never be the same. Ray's trial would go down in history as one of the most disturbing cases of serial kidnapping and torture, and while he was convicted, his final fate remains uncertain. But his crimes didn't just end with his conviction. The legacy of the toy box lingered, both as a symbol of evil and a reminder of the strength of those who survived. David Parker Ray died in prison in 2002, but his story is far from over. The toy box killer left a legacy of terror, and though his victims may never be fully counted, their stories live on.